Joe Rogan mocks Sunny Hosten after husband arrested in RICO fraud. This is a suggestion via a channel member. Let's go and check this video out immediately, guys. Let's join the story.
Hosts among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and you like it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
I mean, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. Let's just not forget who
100%.
she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times has she had to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she said on the show?
The morning the scandal broke seemed like any other, coffee in hand, scrolling through the usual news. But then something stood out. The name Sunny Hosten flashed across the screen, but not for her fiery takes on The View. No, this time it was about her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hosten. And trust me, the headlines were anything but flattering. Dr. Hosten, an orthopedic surgeon,
Insurance fraud, guys. This is crazy.
and his practice, Hostin Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, found themselves at the epicenter of a storm. The accusations? Insurance fraud, kickbacks, and wait for it, being tied to a sprawling RICO lawsuit involving a staggering 180 defendants. That's not just a case, folks. It's a blockbuster. But before we dive into the drama, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single plot twist in this Hollywood-sized scandal. So let's break this down, legal jargon and all.
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance. And
that right there is the kicker. How you said that online. Like you said that on the TV, Sonny. Like, you know what your husband does for a living, right? And did you know what you just said? The thing is, guys, like what they said here originally here, I would know, in fact, if my wife was doing something crazy or nefarious. I would know, okay? Like there's no way something that big could be kept a secret for that long. I'm just going to be honest here. That's not how things work here.
And then has to sue
she knows. She knew
health
something.
insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
Guys. Right. This is crazy.
The RICO Act, Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, was originally created to take down organized crime. Think mobsters, gangsters, the real shady stuff. But plot twist, it's not the mafia in the hot seat here. It's doctors, surgeons, and medical practices. Now, the courtroom drama feels less like Goodfellas and more like Grey's Anatomy, but with fraud on the side. The lawsuit alleges that Dr. Hosten and others were running a scheme to milk the healthcare system. They allegedly received kickbacks for performing unnecessary surgeries and billing insurance companies for procedures that may not have even happened. Picture this: patients going under the knife, insurance companies picking up the tab, while money changes hands like it's a high-stakes poker game at the hospital.
I want a citizen that has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast? That's
why would they even need a disclaimer? Because the crazy thing about it is, guys, this is old media. Old media needs disclaimers because they're really focusing seriously on advertisers, right? Joe Rogan most likely has the ability to choose who advertises on his platform, like I do, and most other YouTubers now do once you get to a certain level. I can choose exactly what you see. I just generally don't because I want everyone to see whatever's out there, right? But Joe Rogan specifically can definitely do that. So why would he care about any type of guidelines or what he's saying and all these other things like that when his advertisers have no problem with it? That's the difference between new media and old media.
says, this is misinformation. How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's
Here's where it gets juicy. The lawsuit specifically calls out Dr. Hosten for allegedly getting financial incentives for recommending or performing arthroscopic surgeries, those minimally invasive joint procedures. At face value, these surgeries seem above board, but the lawsuit claims some of them were completely unnecessary. Were these patients actually in need of knee or shoulder surgery? Or was someone just looking for a payday? If these allegations are true, this could be one of the most shocking betrayals, making soap opera scandals look tame. Imagine trusting your doctor only to realize you were just a pawn in a financial game. That's the kind of betrayal that stings, literally.
It's always the people that always do the pointing, and it's always comes back to them, all right? So when you said this is the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York, you guys wrap that around.
Like, you understand how many instances of RICO and you know the crazy stuff that used to happen in the early 1900s, guys. Just understand, if this is the biggest, that's nuts and that's scary, guys.
Around your brain, that's bigger than the mafia.
I wasn't trying to say that.
The mafia one was number one.
Yeah.
This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services in exchange for the kickbacks.
But here's the twist. On the other side of this case is American Transit Insurance Company, ATIC, the plaintiff. Addict claims they've been duped out of millions, alleging they were billed for surgeries that never happened or weren't needed. It's like paying for a steak and getting tofu instead. But let's be real. Insurance companies don't exactly have clean hands either. They've been accused of underpaying doctors, denying claims, and finding every loophole to avoid paying up. So the big question is Addict really trying to expose a massive healthcare scam? Or is this just a desperate move by a company teetering on the edge of bankruptcy, looking to blame someone else?
According to a new law,
to be honest, that could be both of those things. Like, two things can be true when referring to groups of people that have the ability to print money. Okay, you have these insurance companies who have the ability to decline if your life is worth what you've been paying for the last 10 years, right? Or these individuals who have the ability to just make up things whenever they need a payday really quickly. Okay, so they're both guilty in these both instances here. In my head, at least, guys.
Lawsuit obtained by Page Six. The orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer, influence, and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies and Uber and Lyft drivers.
Dr. Hosten's lawyer, Daniel Thwaites, didn't hold back. He blasted the lawsuit as a meritless attempt by Addict to recoup their losses, calling it a last-ditch effort by a company on the verge of financial collapse. His defense? Shift the spotlight onto ATIC and paint them as the real villains. Classic courtroom maneuver. When you're under attack, you turn the tables on your accuser. And trust me, it's keeping the courtroom drama red hot. But hold on, there's more. Enter Joe Rogan, podcast king and media critic. Rogan didn't pull any punches, calling out The View for what he saw as blatant hypocrisy. He reminded everyone how Sunny Hosten used to slander people, acting like she was perfect, all while likely knowing about her husband's shady dealings. And that's not all. Rogan went full throttle, roasting the show for being, well, plain stupid. If you average out the IQ of The View hosts, you might still struggle to hit triple digits, he quipped.
I saw you on The View.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hosten was. I actually still really don't know. Okay. So I wasn't expecting necessarily for her to kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Well, bro, you're a man. That's what she does. That's like by default. That's what she does. Regardless of whatever you were there for, you're a man.
It is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean, it is a rabies infested hen house.
Harsh, maybe, but his fans.
Not harsh enough.
We're eating it up. Now, while Dr. Hosten fights for his reputation in court, his wife, Sunny, has been eerily silent. Normally, Sunny's the one who tackles controversy head-on The View. But when it comes to her husband's scandal, crickets. Why the silence? Is she standing by him, trying to...
Bro, she's a lawyer. She's not going to say anything. She knows better. Now, the fact that this is all out here, guys, she's not going to say anything. Why would she? Right? Why would she?
Distance herself, or maybe waiting for her lawyers to tell her what to say. Fans are buzzing, some thinking she's protecting her image, others suspecting she's staying quiet to avoid being the next target. Either way, her silence is speaking volumes. And here's the kicker. This isn't just about Dr. Hosten. He's one of 180 defendants named in this lawsuit, including other doctors, medical practices, and even hospitals. If the allegations hold water, this could be one of the largest medical fraud cases in recent memory. An entire network of corruption, exploiting loopholes in the healthcare system for millions.
Her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit, okay? Now, let's read this. Rob, is this a video?
Well, I have this. I'll show you this about...
Let me just read this and I'll come to you. So, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hosten, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sonny Hosten, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hosten knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow. Hosten's attorney, Daniel Twites, denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits. The case involves claims that Hosten performs unnecessary surgeries on patients after minor accidents without exploring less invasive treatments, with American Transit citing New York's 1974 no-fault law as contributing to widespread insurance fraud.
It's like a heist.
That's also valid. That could also be valid.
Movie, except instead of robbing banks, these criminals are robbing insurance premiums.
About the bankruptcy.
At the heart of it all is a bigger question. How much trust do we really have in the healthcare system when money seems to trump patient care? When doctors and insurance companies care more about profits than people, trust crumbles. Patients should feel safe going to their doctor, not like they're walking into a financial trap. And let's not forget, if Attic is using this lawsuit as a smokescreen to cover up their own financial mess, they're only adding fuel to the fire. This whole situation is a tangled web, and untangling it won't be easy. As of now, Dr. Hosten hasn't been found guilty. These are just allegations, but the court battle promises to be a spectacle. Both sides are gearing up to throw everything they've got at each other. So for now, all we can do is sit back, watch, and try to separate fact from fiction. Whether Dr. Hosten is guilty or innocent, this case is already shining a harsh spotlight on the uncomfortable truths of both the healthcare and insurance industries. So buckle up. This scandal is far from over. With every new twist, we'll be right here with popcorn in hand, watching it all unfold like the courtroom drama it's destined to be.
Absolutely.
If you enjoyed today's video...
All right, guys. Really quickly. The name of the channel the video came from is King Kudos. So here's the thing, guys. It's very plausible that the insurance company is trying to cover their tracks, most likely shareholders also. They're trying to cover their tracks. They're trying to say, listen, we've been taken advantage of by these guys, right? So please. But here's the thing also. If there are over 180 people named, the only reason why this guy is more important than all the other ones is because he's married to someone that the internet just loves to generally hate on, if that makes any sense. Don't get me wrong here. It's definitely warranted, some of the things that she says and she co-signs with some of her co-hosts on The View. Guys, I'm fine with that based on a good amount of it, bro. She is very much... I feel bad for her husband. Let's just say that. I feel bad for her husband. Yeah, let's just leave it at that, guys. But guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. And if you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. The fact that you just made it to the end of the video says a whole lot, actually. We have a couple other channels. MrLboyd Music, MrLboyd Movie Reacts, along with MrLboyd Discusses, where I just generally speak about the things that specifically matter to me. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys later.